Okay, hello everyone. Today I chose a topic that would be interesting to you. I chose a topic that would be engaging, and I chose a topic that would be relevant to you, building a conversational AI assistant. The agenda for today is simple. We start with an overview of the technology and talk about the components involved. I then showcase my project along with a live demo, and then we leave a few minutes for the Q&A. Before I move on to the next slide, let's talk a little bit about the power of conversations. The rules of conversation are, in general, not to dwell on one subject, but to pass lightly from one to another without effort and without affectation. That is to say, that we need to learn to speak about trivial topics as well as serious ones. That is the definition of a conversation as put forth by Dennis Diderot. He was known as the father of encyclopedia. In the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, he also talks about the power of conversations. He goes on to say that Homo sapiens were able to connect limited signs and sounds and make infinite sentences, each with a unique meaning. Simply put, we were able to have conversations. The author believes that it was this innate ability because of which we were able to survive over our distant cousins, the Neanderthals. Due to this ability of making conversation, language developed. Soon trade started, economies of scale came into being, industrial and scientific revolution happened and whatnot. Cut to the present day, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, they have all been able to capitalize on our desire to have conversations, or as some would say, gossip. How do we extend the power of conversations to smart speakers? The answer lies in conversational AI. What is conversational AI? It is a catch-all term for natural language models for AI that can interpret human words, speak to people, or carry out tasks or computation with the most intuitive interface available to us, which is natural language. The key word there is a catch-all term. So conversational AI is not one thing. It is a set of technologies that allow computers to understand or interpret natural language, be able to actually identify what is the intention there, create a response, comprehend that, and then create a response in a manner that is human-like, or in other words, it is able to actually mimic a human conversation. A lot of you may have seen the demo of Sundar Pichai going up on stage and showcasing Google Duplex, where the system makes a call to a hair salon to book for an appointment. At the heart of Google Duplex is a complex recurrent neural network built on TensorFlow Extended. But automating human-like conversations is far more difficult than you may imagine. There is a lot of investment being made into devices to make them contextually, contextual and to make them evolutionary competent. What that means is we want devices to learn and evolve. Now that is where conversational AI differs from chatbots. Chatbots are chatbots are simply rule-based, right? So what they do is primarily they are constructed using rules that encourage a simple linear-driven interaction. Conversational AI, on the other hand, it is expected to be on voice, on text, and on web. At the same time, we expect it to be seamless across all these channels. Now, the truly omni-channel experience or truly omni-channel interactions are in the future. But that has to be a priority for a lot of businesses right now. And the reason for that is customers will manage 85% of their relationship with an enterprise without interacting with a human. This was highlighted in the Gartner prediction this year. So now think about providing an excellent after-sales experience for your customer, or scheduling an appointment, or booking a flight, shopping online, or making a restaurant reservation, or booking a hair appointment for that matter. So the opportunities are endless. Conversational AI brings together 8 technology components. Starting from the top left corner, there is natural language processing, the ability to read or parse natural language. This is a prerequisite to understanding the sentence structure. Next, looking at the intent recognition. How do we identify what the user is really requesting? Good intent recognition is vital if you don't want to annoy your users with roadblocks in the experience. Entity recognition. A user might at times give you informative yet abstract questions or sentences. So how do we identify that? To give you an example, what comics did, or name a comic that Thor featured in? So comic is an informative yet abstract category. So in a sense, it is an entity. Fulfillment is the ability to be able to pull data from web services or databases using APIs, running any commands on them, and then informing the dialogue manager back. Voice optimized responses. This is the ability to have a human-like experience or human-like conversation, which means also show emotions in it for an optimized experience. Dynamic text to speech, as the name suggests, converting text to natural sounding speech. Also supporting different languages, voices, accents, maybe even allowing for emphasis on capital letters or tonal inflection. Google Assistant has even now allowed support for speech disfluencies. So sometimes we use words like and in a conversation, right? So how do we include that and kind of recognize that as well? Machine learning, simply put, how do we ensure that we give a better response to the user based on the responses that the human agent gives us? This is very important for us to improve the intent recognition that we saw earlier. Contextual awareness. This is the ability to learn the history of the conversation, be able to even memorize parts of it, be able to recall it, and if necessary, even translate it. The reason for contextual awareness is important is because we want to ensure that the communication that happens between the user and the device is human-like, so it's kind of a back and forth interaction. Let's say you message your friend asking to meet for lunch. In that process, you have used your smartphone's keyboard. If your smartphone's keyboard were contextually aware, then it would recognize that sentence. It would send an invitation to your friend, maybe look for locations for you to meet, share restaurant recommendations, provide directions, and go ahead and even book the hotel or the restaurant reservation, right? So it can do so much more if it is contextually aware. So sometime last year, I got a Google Home at an event, and I started playing around with Dialogflow. At around the same time, I also got my AWS Solutions Architect certification. So I was looking for a project where I can actually incorporate cross-platform interoperability. And so this project of mine is really that experiment. It's a simple and easy approach to building a conversational AI assistant. Next, let's look at the building blocks and the workflow for the solution. So I started with a smart speaker with an integrated virtual assistant. So in my case, a Google Home. Google Dialogflow, it runs on a NLU or natural language understanding engine. So it is able to interpret the natural language. Then I'm using API gateway from AWS, AWS Lambda. So the reason I used AWS products along with Google products was to showcase the cross-platform interoperability that I mentioned. Now, API gateway is essentially used so that non-AWS applications can talk to AWS backend resources. AWS Lambda, it's a compute service where you can create functions or write code without actually provisioning servers or maintaining servers. And then Marvel API, because I am a Marvel fan. So now let's look at the workflow when we put all these blocks together. So the workflow starts with a launch phrase. In this case, it's talk to Marvel Cinematic Universe. Once Google Home sends that to Dialogflow will be able to capture the intent. What is the user really asking for? Okay. At that point, it will also convert speech to text and send a post request to API gateway. Okay. At that point, the AI assistant has become conversational for that intent. API gateway will simply act as a pass-through and will send that forward to AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda is where I have created the function to make the API call. Then we make the API call, Marvel API response. Lambda simply takes that, creates the right payload so that Dialogflow can recognize it. Again, API gateway will simply take that and pass it over to Dialogflow. Dialogflow will now convert text to speech, send it over to Google Home. Google Home will use that output and give a response back to the end user. So there you have it. It's a simple cross-platform interoperability, and all the elements on the screen, if you look at, are loosely coupled. What do I mean by that? So if I were to replace Google Home with, say, Alexa, it's fairly easy to do that. Or if I were to replace Dialogflow with Watson Assistant, I can do that, or with Amazon Lex. Similarly, AWS Lambda, I can replace that with Google Cloud Functions, either on Firebase or use the inline editor if I want more granular control of the response. Right? So you can quickly replace any of these elements and it will still work absolutely fine. Okay, so for folks who have not seen any of these products before, I just thought I'll have a few screenshots to show you how you can get started. So this is Dialogflow. Once you log in with your Google login, you simply go ahead and create an intent or agent. You first start with the agent right here. In this case, it is Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then I create an intent. I add a few training phrases in here. I add a few parameters as well, because we want to identify what the user is asking for. So in this case, okay, I'm asking for a description of a superhero, let's say. So that superhero name becomes a parameter that we need to add here. You can test this out either right here in Dialogflow, or you can use Actions on Google to test it out. API gateway, again, very simple to set up. You simply create a method request, have an integration request that will actually call the Lambda function that you created. One thing to note is in the method response, make sure to include JSON in there, only because the response coming back is a JSON. And you can test this out using this test button right here. This is the AWS Lambda function. I've written this in Node.js. It starts with an export handler. Then we capture the name from the request that is coming in. And then I call this character function. Character function simply has the URL to request the APIs. Okay. The one thing to notice, make sure that that API URL is structured in a good manner. And I'll talk a little bit about it on the next few slides. Once that is done, all you need to do is make sure that the payload that is created is in the format that Dialogflow can consume. Okay, and there is very good documentation on Dialogflow, so you can just get the structure from right there. And the last but not the least is the Marvel API. So all you need to do is go ahead and create an API key. So you'll get a public and private key, and you should be able to start using Marvel API. In this case, I'm just using this characters API, but there are a lot of options that are available to you. With that, we are ready to do a live demo. Couple things before that. My friend Anna actually told me that the golden rule of doing a live demo is not to do one. So clearly I'm breaking a rule today. Also, I realize I do have an Indian accent. I apologize. not because I have an accent, but because you might hear terms such as, sorry, I did not understand that, or can you repeat that, or how may I assist when you hear the demo. So know that it is just Google Home adjusting to my voice and accent. And with that, let's turn it over to Google Home. Anna, can you confirm you're able to see Google Home?
Yes, we can see is the device on the desk.
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Yeah, we can see.
Yes, a purple device.
Right, thank you.
Very nice.
Okay, Google, talk to Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, Google, talk to Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Got it. Here's the test version of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
How can I assist?
Tell me about the Avengers.
Earth's mightiest heroes joined forces to take on threats that were too big for any one hero to tackle. With a roster that has included Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hulk, Thor, Wasp and dozens more over the years, the Avengers have come to be regarded as Earth's #1 team.
I heard they destroyed Thanos. Who is he?
The Mad Titan Thanos, a melancholy, brooding individual, consumed with the concept of death, sought out personal power and increased strength, endowing himself with cybernetic implants until he became more powerful than any of his brethren.
What's with Thor and his love for the hammer?
As the Norse god of thunder and lightning, Thor wields one of the greatest weapons ever made, the enchanted hammer Mjolnir. While others have described Thor as an over-muscled, oafish imbecile, he's quite smart and compassionate. He's self-assured, and he would never, ever stop fighting for a worthwhile cause.
Remind me of a comic book that Thor featured in.
Age of Heroes 2010, #1.
Got it. So how's the weather in London today?
Sorry, I wouldn't know that.
Before we wrap up, what's the deal with Angry Hulk?
Caught in a gamma bomb explosion while trying to save the life of a teenager, Dr. Bruce Banner was transformed into the incredibly powerful creature called the Hulk. An all too often misunderstood hero, the angrier the Hulk gets, the stronger the Hulk gets.
Excelsior.
Goodbye.
So there you have it. We just had a conversation with Google Home. As you saw, it was a simple and easy to create a conversational AI assistant showcasing cross-platform interoperability. A few things to remember, and this is something I share from my learnings when I created the first prototype. One, if you're using Google Flow or if you're using Dialogflow for a while now, you may have been using the V1 APIs. So Google has actually deprecated the support for it. So make sure you upgrade to V2 APIs so that you can create all your functions and everything in there. The other thing to note is that when you create that API request to the Marvel APIs, be careful with how you create it. It requests a name, it requires a key, the API key that I spoke about, and also an MD5 hash. And if you don't construct it in the right manner, you will see that you will only be hearing about Thor in all the responses. So watch out for that. The last thing, as you saw in the demo, you will hear terms such as Mad Titan Thanos and oafish imbecile Thor. So yeah, go ahead and enjoy those. So with the current situation that we are in, 2020 will see a definitive transformation of chatbots into conversational AI bots. So the traditional or the rudimentary chatbots no longer delight our customers. Customers want an AI conversant cognitive bot that can decipher complex scenarios, can show emotions, and actually respond thoughtfully. They also want one that can, address accessibility and language issues, right? So for example, think of including hearing impaired users or someone who does not speak the local language, but can also talk to the AI assistant and still go ahead and do a few tasks. So a true conversational AI assistant will lead to a higher average happiness index and net promoter score. So customers and businesses both can reap benefits of this. So with that, I hope you will make time to learn and contribute to this very exciting field of conversational AI. And with that, let's move over to Q&A.
Thank you, Divya. This was so fun. A lot of comments, how cool it is. And great bravery to do a live demo. It went fantastic, except the music in the beginning.
I know it's loud and long music, which I tried to cut off, but yeah.
Oh, so that was part of it. Okay, fantastic. Very fun. Yeah, we're on time. We have time for questions. Let's go with the first one. Can conversational AI replicate a human and behave exactly logically and emotionally as a human?
So that is definitely what the future that we envision, right? We do want conversational AI to be able to do that, right? And as I mentioned, we want to include speech disfluencies. We want to show emotion, right? And especially like when you look at a lot of applications of it right now, like in Spain, there are a few places, like a few hospice cares where they are actually using an AI device or an AI assistant to to provide support to some of the old people, So, so yeah, that is the future that we do envision. And there is a lot of experimentation that needs to be done before we get there. So if you've seen the Google Duplex demo, by the end of it, we were really not sure whether we are talking to a human or a device, right? So definitely at some point, that is the hope.
Fantastic. Next, it's not a question, it's a comment. No apologies necessary. Yes, thank you. Everything was perfect. Michael asks, Divya, what are your thoughts on communication in different groups to be bound to a tribal slang or very specific idiomatic language? So a live person has an ability to switch among slangs. How can it be solved in AI?
Okay, so so all we need to really do is ensure that we are providing enough training phrases, right? So as you noticed in the demo, I did not just ask who is Thanos, who is Thor, who are the Avengers, right? I was able to add a few complex sentences in there. Remind me of a comic book, that Thor featured in. So these are things that I've actually gone ahead and trained the dialogue flow to listen in, right? So to answer your question, if we were to include a lot of slang as part of the training itself, right? So then over time, it will recognize that and say, okay, this is a slang that I should either overlook or maybe consider as part of the conversation, right? And when I spoke about the components of the conversational AI assistant, right? So in that, there was a place where I spoke about the contextual awareness. It needs to learn from the history. So the more you talk to it about using these slangs, it'll understand that, okay, this is part of the conversation. And it'll try to memorize it, it'll try to recall it, and maybe even use it back in the response. So it is definitely doable, but with a lot of training.
Great, thank you very much. Andrew is asking, can you point us to a few resources for onboarding and then progressing into advanced understanding for creating conversational AI?
I think the best resource I would recommend is the Dialogflow documentation. It is really good. It's very easy to set up. You can just simply follow the text in there about how to structure the JSON, how to create an intent, how to add the training phrases, how you can go ahead and test it. I think that's a very good start. If you want to kind of dabble more with the inline editor, so there is a place. So earlier you used to have a cloud functions on Firebase that you could use. You could create the functions in there. Now they have an inline editor itself. That gives you a lot more granular control over the response. So I think that would be a good place to start. But let me look for some good documentation to help you out, or a few links, and I can go ahead and post it in the Slack channel.
Fantastic. And related to that, is a good GitHub available for the conversational AI assistant demo?
Yes, I do have that. Again, I'll go ahead and share it in the Slack channel.
Oh, fantastic. How well does this NLP processing do at interpreting multiple people speaking together?
Okay, so that is an area that really needs a lot more research right now, because like I mentioned, understanding not only accents, but different voices is a little bit of a challenge. It has to get used to that, right? So it does take a while to kind of understand that, okay, this is Anna speaking or this is Divya speaking, and that if multiple people are speaking in, how do we remember who asked what and respond in the right manner? So right now, I think there is not too much, too many applications that we can see where this has been incorporated. But nevertheless, I think that is an area where a lot of research is being done right now.
Fantastic, thank you. How do you label the training phrases?
How do you label it, you said?
Yes, how do you label the training phrases?
Okay, so so with Google Dialogflow, you don't have a lot of restriction, as in you have to provide so many training phrases. But if you look at, say, Watson AI, they say that for every phrase you have to have at least minimum of 7 lines for it. So that way, 7 different ways that the same question can be asked, right? But having said that, right now in Dialogflow, all you can do is just simply add the phrase as is, okay? Make sure that you are identifying the parameters. So in this case, let's say I said, tell me about Avengers, right? So I made sure that the Avengers is identified as a parameter in there. So you can simply go ahead and put the training phrases in there. You don't need to really label it except when you want to identify these parameters. I hope that answers the question.
Great, thank you, Divya. Are there any tips to make the experience less frustrating for users? Ash says, I'm thinking mainly about understanding the commands. Anything other than training the assistant with multiple voices and accents?
Yeah, I think like when I was actually practicing or doing this demo earlier, I did notice that, I would be speaking in the same manner, the same tone, so the same accent and everything, but then Google Home will respond differently, So the only way I could figure out is, just kind of keep training it more. But also, as I mentioned, add a lot of training phrases in there. So different ways that a user can ask the same question, right? So that is the only way really that you can make sure that it recognizes the user intention early on. I wish I had a better answer for that one.
Yes, sorry, a lot of votes and things are moving. Oh, here's a good one. How viable or difficult is it for individuals to create such an AI without the use of APIs from Google or AWS?
Without the use of APIs, without them. So in this case, yeah, all I did was, just kind of have a webhook in Dialogflow. Right? So I mentioned, if you don't want to use any of the other products, if you just want to use simply Dialogflow, what you can do is, instead of creating a webhook that connects to API gateway, instead you can just use the inline editor in there. And right now you can use Node.js code, and it actually comes, when you open the inline editor, it actually comes with some pre-built code in there. So it kind of helps you get started. So that is one way to go about with it.
Fantastic. Questions about the Slack channel I just posted. What are some of the current primary challenges for creating a true conversational AI assistant?
Okay, so I think a few challenges that in the last few years that we've seen is once, this whole concept of chatbots came along, there were thousands of vendors who went about and created these chatbots. Okay, and a lot of them were, geared towards, say, small and medium-sized businesses or a particular use case, like, okay, this is only for a retail industry or only for the fintech industry. So a lot of like these chatbots, in the business right now. Now, the real challenge is how do we make sure that they are converted to conversational AI, right? So how do we make sure there is an end of life for them, and then, or either they migrate or they go ahead and create a new one. So that is going to be one of the big challenges moving forward, I think. And especially like I mentioned with this year, that the way the year has been, there is a need for, a lot more conversation instead of just like a text-based interface that we can see.
Fantastic. Another great question. Can conversational AI somehow help in psychological industries and medical industries by being a psychological friend and advisor, like the Replica.ai is trying? Not sure if you're familiar with Replica.ai, but if you have thoughts on, I think this is specific, but medical and psychological industries.
So there is a lot of scope for it, for sure. And I mentioned about the hospice care that we saw in Spain. So they are actually rolling out an assistant in each of the rooms that, the people have in there, to make sure that they don't feel lonely. They always have someone to talk to. Similarly, I think I heard that in New York City, one of the dorms, they are actually trying to implement it as well, just so that every single student will have an assistant to speak with. So there is definitely scope in there, but again, I think it has to be responsible AI, like Sarah spoke. So there is still a long way before we get there, but definitely there is opportunity there, I would say.
Fantastic. And I think we're on time for one more.
I think
Or
we
should we start
probably
with
take maybe the last question. We have one.
Great. We'll just wrap up. Tons of questions, tons of comments. How cool the demo was. Thank you for your time and for working hard to bring us all this information